readers of anything that is written or published in one format or another may have many intentions with what they write. It's not always one thing. In this particular lesson, we deal with three purposes of writing. It may be to inform the reader or watcher, in case it's something that's video, to persuade them to do something or convince them of something, or to entertain them. There are different styles of writing depending on the purpose. For example, when you write to inform someone, it's called expository writing. When you're writing to persuade or convince someone, it's called persuasive writing. And when you write mostly to entertain, it's called narrative and or descriptive writing. Actually, in reality, we use all of those purposes in one piece of writing very frequently. Let's look at each one. Expository writing, what is it? Well, it provides factual information or instructions on how to do something. We often do expository writing in academic writing. Some examples could be textbooks, the one you've got, lab reports. Have you ever done laboratory exercises or laboratory experiments in college or high school? I bet you have. Did you have to write lab reports? Yes. And you had to write down factual information or instructions for those. Directions, when you're giving people directions for how to get to there from here. Cookbooks, for example, are expository writing, and some newspaper and magazine articles are also expository, but they generally blend several things. Persuasive writing contains opinions, feelings, beliefs, and it wants you to agree with the author or to carry out an action. For example, many newspaper and magazine articles mix together expository and persuasive writing. Social media posts are very frequently persuasive. They want you to believe something, could be political or something else, or they definitely show opinions and feelings of somebody. Editorials are opinions of the newspaper staff. Advertisements, which is basically, buy this. I put some toothpaste over here on the right. Advertisements, there, that's what they intend to do. And opinion essays. We have a lot of opinion essays. That's persuasive writing in academic writing. Now, writing to entertain is often blended in. It creates an image in the reader's mind that may make him or her feel a strong emotion. For example, fiction, short stories, poems, novels, but also things like comics and graphic novels are basically there to entertain rather than instruct, although they do blend there too. All right, here's the exercise A on page 200, and I think it's extremely difficult. So I just wanted to show you how I would approach this exercise. The question is the intention here to inform, persuade, or entertain? Here's the first sentence. The expression Industrial Revolution as a generic term refers to the emergence during the transition from a pre-industrial to an industrial society of modern economic growth. Well, it's not very entertaining, that's for sure. Is it persuading you an opinion? No. Well, that puts it in the lesson, the group of expository, and that's to inform. Number two, considering the technological possibilities of the time and the inherent limits of wind and water power, their contribution could only be relatively minor. Well, is it information? I think it's more persuasive, really. It's trying to tell you that you should conclude that their contribution is only relatively minor. But if you say the purpose is to inform, I understand that perfectly well. Number three, British output of pig iron, whatever that is, to give only the most important example, between 1750 and 1850, rose from less than 30,000 tons to 2.25 million tons. That seems very informational. There's really no emotion in here. They're not trying to persuade or convince you of anything. It's pure expository. I'd say the purpose is to inform. The next one's number four. The fundamental changes in the ways that goods were produced and transported and in the kinds of goods that were produced were bound to have consequences for the organization of production. Information? Opinion? If anything, I'd say it's information because it's something you can definitely argue with, and that, in addition, also makes it persuasive. It makes it an opinion. You can disagree, you can say, no, no, they didn't have any consequences for the organization of production. And if it's a matter of agreeing or disagreeing, it's usually considered persuasive. Number 5, without a set of technological breakthroughs, industrialization would have been impossible. Inform, entertain, persuade. Well, I don't think it's very entertaining, so I'm going to cross that out. How about, could it be information or is it more opinion? Well, I think it's both, but if I had to choose one, I'm going to choose that it's a matter of convincing or persuading. Oh boy, last one. In particular, Japan and the so-called four Asian tigers, Hong Kong, Singapore, South Korea, and Taiwan, have managed to catch up. This must be old information because they certainly have caught up now. And some countries like China and India now appear to be taking off. Actually, they already have. So let's look up the date of the publication of this. Now, would you say that is opinion or information? Opinion, really, mostly? If so, it's trying to convince you or persuade you of something. Now, I haven't found a single one of these whose purpose is to entertain. Nothing seems very entertaining when we're talking about the Industrial Revolution. Anyway, I haven't looked up the answers that the book gives, whatever those answers might be, but I wanted you to listen to the logic, the thought process in trying to make a decision. And here at the very end is some strange, weird picture supposedly showing the Industrial Revolution. All I can see is smoke. But at any rate, basically, the differences between information and persuasion are often very minor. Entertaining is a little bit more obvious, a little bit more obvious to find out. But as far as what is the author intent, the author's intent is probably to persuade you, even though the author uses information in order to do so. Thank you.